Hello and welcome to this week's Coles Express NBL1 North Game of the Week podcast. It's in the North, brought to you by Basketball Queensland. I'm Briana Goodchild and I'm joined by John Guarna. How are you doing tonight, John?
You know, it's my favorite night of the week when I get to hang out with you, Briana. So I'm pumped, and we got a great guest with us tonight for sure.
We certainly do. So it's Mirko Djeric. And Mirko, tell us, how are you feeling? I believe you're a little injured.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good now, but on Saturday night in Mackay, we had the game, and then the fourth minute, my finger sort of dislocated out of the skin. So, but I got lucky, nothing was broken, and no ligament damage, so it shouldn't be too long of a wait.
Flash us a bit of the damage currently.
Oh, it's all right. It's just a bit of a bandage sort of wounding sort of stage, but it's fine. It's all right.
Not the non-shooting hand, so we should be okay to go next round.
Exactly. It's my left hand. Hardly ever use it, so we should be fine.
Fantastic. Well, let's start at the very beginning with tonight's questions. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the sport of basketball, where it all started for you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much because of my dad. When I was 5 years old, he took me to my first practice in Sydney, and then it just kicked off from there. I mean, my dad's a sporty person, and then he sort of loved basketball, and he played it a bit when he was younger overseas. And then, he just took off from there. And then I had a lot of people in sort of the Serbian community in Sydney that helped me on the way. And just never looked back.
Was it something that you fell in love with yourself and it just got a hold of you early? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I remember my first basket was a pot plant my dad made in the backyard. And then, once I saw the real thing, I'm like, wow, this is cool. So... But I always loved it, and I still do, obviously.
That's so creative. I'm impressed. So, like a pot plant, and Dad would get you to shoot little. Was it like scrunched up paper or something in it, or?
No, I think we had. I can't remember too well, but I was pretty young. I think we had like a little rubber ball, and then a black little pot plant, and I was like, all right, this will do. So.
That's so good. So, how young were you when you think you first got into it?
I mean, from what I can remember, I got into it straight away. I remember my first
bitty
session.
Ball days.
Yeah, like the younger days when I was 5, 6, just starting, and then I was just running around like a headless chook. But I loved it. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember those days. I think everyone definitely learnt the lesson of an own goal. Shooting at the wrong end as one of those little bitty ballers.
Yeah, definitely.
Mirko, for you, when did the dream of playing professional hit? And was that something that was a goal of yours at all when you were younger?
Yeah, definitely. I think around 14, 15, I started realizing that, it's a goal that could be accomplished. Obviously, when I went to the AIS when I was 15, and then, I had no urge to go to college, and I wanted to play pro as soon as possible. And that opportunity came about when I was 17. With the Wollongong Hawks back then, with Gordy McLeod as a coach. I had a few injuries, and then they needed a replacement. And obviously with Ian Stacker as my coach there, they got in contact, and I was like, yeah, 100%. Let's do it. Like I want to experience it, and then ever since that, I've been playing pro since I was 17. So yeah.
That's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about your experience going to the AAS? How did you find that? And in terms of schooling with it?
Yeah, the schooling part. Is a bit different, going to Lake Jundura College. All the athletes used to go there. It's a bit of a different school, but, honestly, now that I look back at it, I loved it there. I really did. It had everything. It really had everything there. And I think, once you pass that AIS stage and go pro, you realize, well, a few things are missing because everything was literally there, the AIS around you. Like 5-minute walk, if that. You got your psychologist, your dietitians, your physio, your massage. Like it was unbelievable. It's the best place for a 15 to 17-year-old to be.
So you got your professional career started here in Australia, but you did get the opportunity to go play professionally in Serbia. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was always, like, it's going to sound cliche, but it was a dream of mine to go and play an experience in Serbia, obviously, because I'm a proud Serbian. My parents are from Serbia, and I just wanted to experience the culture and the basketball, because basketball is one of the top 2 sports in Serbia, and they take it very seriously. And they definitely do trainings. Like it was crazy how much they train. I think that was the biggest difference of, twice a week, every day. There's not really much rest days, and it was just brutal, but I loved it. I loved the passion, the atmosphere, the creativeness of over there. And yeah, I mean, it was a good experience.
Did comparatively from where you started in the NBL and then to playing professionally in Serbia, what was the comparison like? And did you feel like you were prepared when you got over there?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helped, playing pro before I even went to Serbia. And even when I was at the AIS, we used to do some tours. Ian Stack would take us around to China or that and play older guys. We're always playing against older guys, which obviously helped us develop earlier and better. And then obviously the physicality in Serbia, I mean, is brutal. So you sort of prepared me the whole way, and it was an awesome experience. The only thing that I can say it's a bit iffy over there is obviously the contract situations. It's not always guaranteed or how it's set on paper. It really is just a piece of paper, because they can just throw it out and you'll be like, what the hell? That's the one thing I could say that that's why that was a part of the reason why I came back to Australia, is to have that certainty of when you sign. You don't have to think, oh my God, what's going to happen, with the payments or that. But but other than that, I don't regret it. I loved it. And I don't know, who knows what can happen in the future again.
Yeah. And so coming back, what do you think was the main thing that improved in your game after playing that Serbian, series?
I think just my game awareness, a bit more smarter of knowing when to sort of step in and do my thing. And it's the flow of the game. I feel like I learned that a lot over there, because they drill a lot of 5-on-5 at trainings and reading certain things. But I think even shooting, because I spent a lot of time shooting in Serbia as well, and they're big on that, to hit the 3-ball. So you had to be a consistent shooter to play, especially in that 2-3 position. And, even on-ball defense as well, I improved, because, again, they take it very seriously, and obviously they do anywhere, but they have an extra point on it. So, but yeah, there's still a lot of things to learn, but from the main thing, I'd just say the flow of the game, really.
Nice.
And you talked about growing up in Sydney, but you've kind of made North Queensland your home. You had time in Townsville. You're up there in Cairns now. What is it about North Queensland that you love?
The people, man. I love the people up here. I can't say I love the weather too much. Only when it's winter here, it's perfect. But man, I struggle in the heat sometimes. Far out. But no, honestly, I love smaller towns, easygoing people, and that's all I've come across here in North Queensland, in Townsville and in Cairns. It's just awesome. Yeah.
And I do want to ask you, because you did start in the NBL, and then it's kind of almost a new NBL when you've come back from Serbia. What are the differences in the NBL from when you were there originally to where it's at now, in your opinion?
I think just the overall quality of players is grown, with the various imports coming into the NBL now, and then it's a worldwide sort of league that everyone watches now. I mean, and the advertisements are everywhere. Everyone knows about it now. Everyone's speaking about it now. When I was there, it was sort of going through that patch of rebuilding sort of the brand. But I think, Kesselman's done an unbelievable job of what he's done to turn it around. And, it's just booming right now. Everywhere you go, everywhere you talk about it's just basketball. So I think that's the main thing. And, yeah, just the quality of players, and especially now with Tassie coming in, I'm excited for that. Excited for them. It's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, the Jack Jumpers. How exciting. I was laughing at the name a little bit, though. I was like, we've got Taipans and, Phoenix and all this. And then the Jack Jumpers. But
hey, man, I'm sure they won't be as friendly as their name, that's for sure. So.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be exciting to have them in. But look, yeah, there's talk that the NBL is now like one of the top-ranked comps in the world. Some people are saying even number second. And a little bit of that attraction's flowing its way down to the Coles Express NBL1 North comp. I mean, we've been hearing that it's one of the most competitive in the whole country as well, and that's definitely what we've been hearing time again from coaches and players. How are you finding the inaugural season?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely impressed with the quality of the teams, and the players. And I think a big thing is when NBL players do go to play in these leagues in NBL1 or South or wherever, other players they're eager to play, to see where they are, and they test themselves, and then it's a competition, and then everything just grows. The level, everything just grows because of that. And I think even when I was, 15, 16, I'll be going up against, when Brad Newley came to the AIS or someone like that, and I want to, go as hard as I can. I feel like that's very good for NBL1 North or any league really, is those guys coming back in like myself, and then seeing, that competitiveness from the other players, to see where they are. So, no, I think, they've done a really good job. It's very balanced as well. Obviously Logan are killing it at the moment in NBL1 North, but overall I think it's a very good balance of NBL talent and, NBL1 North talent.
How would you rate the Marlins season up to this point?
It's all right. I mean, it's not where we want to be just yet, but obviously now with a bit of injuries from Nate, Majuk, and myself, it's a bit of a Taipan curse really for the Marlins. But, I think you'll be fine though. We'll be fine. You just got to sort of feel our way through the group and then understand each other's roles. And then, I think we'll be fine though.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people are looking out for Cairns. Obviously, when you and Nate and Majuk joined the group, everyone kind of slotted you up at the top. Are you feeling any pressure that it's championship or bust in Cairns?
Not necessarily. I mean, obviously we have high expectations. We always do. Especially with us three who are highly competitive as well. We've set out that we want to win. That's it. Like, we just want to win. Whatever we play in, we want to win. If it's local comp or something, just to have that culture of winning, to transition that to the Taipans, and we want to use this as a stepping stone for the Taipans. So obviously we said we're going to win this thing, and we still believe we can.
That's awesome to hear. And look, it's been exciting to watch the teams, especially since you guys have stepped in from the NBL, fresh off that. Talk us through a little bit about how the season's going since you've stepped in the sense that you're on a little bit of a winning streak there, but then this weekend you go down to Rocky, who pick up their first win. Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, yeah, Rocky were 0-13 before they versed us, but they've got quality players. I remember Josh Wiltshire used to play with me in Townsville. He was a quality player. Kendall Stevens is now playing for them. Like, these guys can play. It's not like, there's someone that you can just walk over. And, and obviously with us three being injured, we lent to the younger guys, Statman and Fisher, obviously, who used to play for the Taipans. And, we're up 20, and then there were a couple of breakdowns, and Rocky got, their rhythm and won the game. So that's why this league's so exciting, because anyone can beat anyone. And that's the way it should be in sport, really, because you just can't expect anything, really.
Yeah, it's so true. It makes tipping so hard. John and I are doing our tips each week. We've got a comp going between us, but man, it's getting hard just because the competition's so good. But that is exactly what makes it so exciting.
Exactly, and that's the way it should be. I think for a league like this, as we call it, off-season league, it's not, because you got quality players everywhere you look. NBL players playing. Obviously Mac has gone to Northside, where he's from, and he's playing there, and obviously he wants to play well for his hometown. So, it's awesome. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's been awesome to be a part of for us as well, because Briana and I get to see it every single week. We get to talk to players like yourself. I do want to ask you, though, you gave us an injury update on yourself. Can you give us any insight into Majuk and Nate? Will we get to see them again before the finals come around?
Yeah, I think Nate's going to be the first to come back. He's just obviously taking his time and not rushing into anything. But I think he'll be fine in about a week or two. Majuk's in a moonboo right now, recovering well. He's ahead of schedule. So, but again, we're not going to rush anything for any of these guys, because obviously our bigger goal is the Taipan season. But if we're healthy, we're obviously going to play for the Marlins, because we're living in Cairns and we love Cairns, and we want to do well here.
Yeah, that's great. And speaking of, that next Taipan series, can you talk to us a little bit about future goals in terms of what's next after NBL1 North?
Yeah, I mean, first goal is to get everyone here safely and healthily. Like, just stay here and start our work with our new coach, Adam Ford. I had a sit down with him not long ago just to talk about a few things, and it's looking good. Obviously we don't know the rest of our roster just yet, but we kept the core group, and we still believe we got the right tools and talents to challenge and even win this thing.
Love to hear it.
And getting back to the rightful home of the Cairns Taipans, the convention center is back open, right?
Yeah, sure is. And that's the thing, man. We miss playing there. Obviously, the season before, we had a great record there. And it just has a different feel. Obviously, the government that did a wonderful job of setting up that, what's it called? Sorry. The Bunnings warehouse, sorry.
Yeah, the temporary home.
Yeah, the temporary. They obviously did a great job, in a short amount of time. But, home is home, and that's the convention center.
So great. Well, John, do you have any more questions before we get into our quick fire?
No, I think we've warmed Mirko up pretty well. I know these rapid fire ones. He's coming out blazing. I'm sure of it.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, it's time to up the ante and the speed. Mirko, I'm going to give you 5 questions. Answer as quick as you can, straight off the top of your head. Question 1: favorite sports team?
Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sports idol.
I wish I would have known that beforehand. I would have refused to take part of this.
Sorry, man.
John gets personally offended anytime anyone likes any of his rival teams.
That's right.
Fair enough.
All right, next one. Sports idol.
Novak Djokovic.
Hey, Feli
Nice.
Serbi. There we go.
Yeah.
Favorite pre-game meal.
Ooh, bloody hell. Probably just some eggs and avocado, really.
Okay, healthy. Like it. Hardest opponent.
Ooh, probably when I was growing up, Dante Exum was my rival. Yeah, New South Wales Metro as Vic Metro. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, they're still going. The Boomers doing well for themselves, and he had a good game the other night. That dunk was all over Instagram and YouTube.
That dunk. Well, I've seen it plenty of times. Don't you worry. So.
Love it. And so a worthy rival. Let's just say that. And lastly, this is our favorite. What advice would you give to young players striving to get into basketball professionally and be somewhere like where you are?
Yeah, I think the main thing is don't get distracted from off-court things and just keep level-headed, keep training hard, and, results come your way.
Fantastic. There you have it. Quote Mirko.
It's a big one.
Now, Mirko, that was awesome. We appreciate you taking the time to join us on the podcast tonight. We hope that Pinky is okay to see you back on court in the next round, and we wish you all the best in the rest of the season with the Marlins, and looking forward to seeing you guys when you come down here to take on Logan. Hopefully, we still have that as the game of the league.
Just John and I are just so devastated that it's not happening this weekend. We are so pumped for this game. We finally see you guys play in the flesh. So, alas, COVID strikes again, and we hope that we'll get to see that game again
soon. Hopefully everything goes back the way it should be, and we'll be fine. We will.
We've done it before. We'll get through it.
Sure that.
All right. Thanks so much, Mirko.
No worries.
Thanks, Mirko.
Talk to you later.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.
How good was that?
So good. Exciting times. I love the little Kulu in the background there for a bit as well. Every now and then making a little noise entrance. Everyone, you're welcome for my lovely replay if you're listening to just the podcast of this.
That was a pretty good impersonation for sure. But, to have someone like Mirko who's really been there and done it all, to take him from his younger days through to the AIS, playing professionally at 17 years old, and then going over to Serbia and coming back to a new competition. Someone like Mirko, to have him back with his experience is a really valuable thing for the Cairns organization, but for us as commentators and fans to see him playing in this Coles Express NBL1 North competition is a real treat for us.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And you can just tell just from the way he talks and how bummed he was about, his pinky injury. He just loves to play. He loves the game. And I think that was evident about him getting into his professional career so quickly. He just wanted to play and go pro. And so I love bringing that passion, into Coles Express NBL1 North as well. And I love the point he made as well about it's really exciting for everyone in the comp when these NBL players come in, because everyone wants to see how they measure up. And like he said, the comp is so stacked. It's pretty even across the board. It's really hard to predict because there's no bad teams. there's teams who win a little bit more than others, but everyone's kind of got some good pieces that, when in the right combination, can fire up.
For sure. And the great evidence is Rockhampton beating that Marlins team over the weekend.
It's happened. We didn't pick it, but it's happened.
We definitely didn't pick it, but we have said previously that Rockhampton was not going to go through this season without picking up a win. I just would have never guessed it was going to be against Cairns, but again, injuries are hitting Cairns pretty hard with Mirko out, Majok Deng, Nate Jawai as well. They still have a really talented group. When you bring those three guys in there, if they can get back in healthy, because Cairns still in the top 8 at this point in time, you bring back that full healthy group, and they're going to be a tough one to stop. But they have to really weather the storm because they're teetering towards the bottom of that ladder at the moment.
They certainly are. But look, that's a good note for us to just recap round 12 that's been and talk about some of our favorite players in it. I think given that there was only 3 games in the round, I mean, for all those, if you're not based in Queensland, you may have heard on the news. If you're in Queensland, I'm sure you're living through it. But Southeast Queensland is in lockdown currently with COVID. And because of that, we managed to get in our game of the week, whoop, whoop. So that was on the Friday night. All other Southeast Queensland games did not play. However, the up north games did. So 3 games came out of round 12. And then we'll also chat about, in not too long, just the update on round 13. But, John, let's crack on to recapping what happened with the women on Friday night. So we had Southwest Metro Pirates taking on Townsville Flames.
I just wanted to make the point that just because there was less games doesn't mean that we're going to get any closer to just 3 players, by the way.
I also echo these sentiments. And if anything, like, they were big 3 games as well, like actually crazy 3 games. So
yes,
let's
definitely
crack into it. What did you think?
I mean, we had the Townsville Southwest game, and I think both of us were expecting it to be a bit closer, but Townsville did a really masterful job keeping Amanda Johnson pretty much in check. She still had great numbers, but they kind of forced the ball out of her hands, and someone else for Southwest had to step up. And unfortunately for them, no one did. Townsville ran away with it, 80-51. And, for me, the 2 standouts, when you talk about Townsville, they do it as a team, but Steph Reed had a great game, 21 points, 6 rebounds. Mia Murray, she was awesome. She was hitting the ball, hitting the 3 ball as well quite a bit, finished with 20 points, 4 assists, but a really great team effort in that game, and a really good game to call.
Definitely. And I also want to add in, Michaela Cox had a great game as well. And she's, a vital part of the team. We had her on the podcast not too long ago as well. 16 points for her, 6 rebounds and 3 assists. And can I also just go back up to Steph Reed? Not only did she get those 21 points and 6 rebounds, she also had 4 steals and 2 assists as well. So definitely playing across the field. And you talked about how they managed to cap Amanda Johnson. And that is no easy feat because Amanda Johnson is a walking double-double. She's up the top, averaging most points per game across the whole league statistically. And they capped her at 18 points, 12 rebounds, 2 steals. So I think that's a really great effort because she's somebody who's normally well into the 20s. I just accidentally just said it then as 20 because I'm so used to rattling off such statistics when it comes to her. Likewise for her rebounds, it's normally really high teens or into the 20s for her as well. So while that's still monster stats for anyone, for AJ, it just shows the good defense that Townsville was able to bring out. And that's what we were really impressed with. It was a class act from Townsville. They did start better than they finished, but overall it was a really great game to watch.
Yeah, and for me, the one that stood out was Amanda Johnson only was able to get off 9 shots in that game. And that, to me, is unheard of. She can sometimes get 9 shots up in a quarter, not a whole game. So to contain her, really double team, sometimes even triple teamed her and forced the ball out of her hands. They did a great job defensively. I think, we'll always highlight those big stat numbers in our players of the week, but defensively, I thought Townsville did a really, really good job on Amanda Johnson.
Definitely. And look, sticking with the women's, Saturday night, we had Mackay Meteorettes take out the win, 96-65 against the Cairns Dolphins. So big game there. Mackay's back on their winning streak, which is great to see. Chelsea Brooke, tallied a monster double-double, 32 points, 23 rebounds. She made 11 of 24 field goals, including 5 of 15 from deep. So crazy effort from Chelsea.
Yeah, massive effort. And the pressure has really been on Chelsea to step up since Kayla George left the group to go play in the Olympics with the Opals. And Chelsea has delivered. Cairns is unfortunately one of the teams sitting closer to the bottom of the ladder, and I think they'll now be equal with Rockhampton towards the bottom there. But a lot of teams have been putting up numbers, but still 32 points and 23 rebounds, 7 of them offensive. That was a master class from Chelsea Brooke. She also got lots of help. I'll highlight Sky Reese, who had 21 points and 8 rebounds in that win. And you mentioned it, Mackay getting back on track a little bit. Unfortunately for Kayla George and the Opals, their Olympic tournament is finished. We're recording this on Wednesday. They lost the game to the U.S. this morning, or this afternoon, I should say.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for Kayla and the Opals, they're done. But fortunately for Mackay and for us and us fans, that might mean that we get to see Kayla George a little bit earlier than maybe we expected.
Yeah, and look, it's sad. I've been loving watching the Olympics. I mean, cheering on every game, Opals and Boomers, and so exciting to have seen, Kayla leave us to head on over there. Likewise for Nathan Sobey. But that is the silver lining that, look, it'll be great to have her back in the comp. And I think she's going to be more fired up than ever. She had a great tournament, over at the Olympics. And I think, to be honest, I think she's just going to want to keep firing up. You can see the passion. I love the reshares of all the Insta stills and everything. And I think, yeah, definitely this team is great to see them. We always talked about this earlier in the season about how we thought the team would fare without her. There was definitely that learning curve, but this game just goes to show they're starting to hit back into their stride and add Kayla back into this mix. They're dangerous when it comes down to this final series. They
really are. They're sitting in 4th on the ladder at 10-4, so they are in a fairly good position. They do have a couple tough games though coming up, and the sooner they can get Kayla George back, the better for them and for all of us fans, I should say, not necessarily the opposition.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely for all the spectator fans. Moving on to Sunday, Rockhampton Cyclones get their first win of the season, 87-67 against Cairns Dolphins. So it wasn't the weekend for Cairns. But finally they get their win, John.
They sure did. And again, I probably didn't have, and I'm just being honest here, I didn't have as much faith in that Rockhampton group on the women's side of things. But man, Lara McSpadden has been awesome this season, and she led the way, 23 points, 16 rebounds, just doing what she's really been doing all season. But she got a little more help this weekend in that first win. Annalise Wilkinson, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and that's what has been inconsistent for Rockhampton on the women's side. It's been McSpadden and really no one else, but it was great to see the team step up, someone else support Lara a bit, and great to see Rockhampton get in the win column. Exactly, and that's definitely been the difference, just that little bit more help, because as we've seen in this whole comp, men's and women's, having good players on your team isn't enough. You need several of them because the comp is so good. And just on that note too, McSpadden, she's made it into our best players almost week in, week out, despite, the team not necessarily picking up any of those wins. But that was her 11th double-double. So, that's round 12. It shows she got 1 week where she didn't get a double-double. Yeah. And that maybe even was a bye. I need to go back and have a look. Who knows? That's all right. I mean, she's certainly a quality player. And, congratulations to Rockhampton. I know it's been a difficult season for them. They've had a lot of injuries themselves as well. So that's right. The group has put in maximum effort week in and week out, and it's good to see them rewarded with that first win. It definitely is. So let's move on to the men's. Friday night, again, back in the ship, we had the Southwest Metro Pirates go down 68 to Townsville Heat, bringing out the Heat with an 89 victory. Yeah, 89-68 win for Townsville. And very similar to what we said with the women's, it was a really well-balanced attack for Townsville. I thought they did a really good job defensively. They were in control of that game from start to finish. It was not really close, but they never really blew it out either, I guess I should say. But, again, we talked about it in the preview. Sam Froling was, a handful. Yeah, he's a handful for everyone. He had the double-double, 16 points, 12 rebounds. He only took 9 shots. He made 7 of those. And again, just a really great team win for Townsville. Really impressed. I'm so glad we got to see them in person because they're one of those teams that you don't necessarily want to play them, especially in Townsville. They're sitting on 3rd on the ladder. If they can secure a home final, they're going to be dangerous no matter what. But playing at home with those fans, they can beat anybody. So Townsville, really good win. And having someone like Sam Froling is a real difference maker.
Definitely. Like, I loved watching that team play because they really, I think now have everything they need. They've got all the ingredients, and adding Sam Froling to the mix, I just think it's a very even approach. All 10 of their players registered on the stat sheet, so everyone bought into that game. There was some really great moments, lots of assists in the game as well. So I just think they're a very competitive side. And like you said, I know from Mila having played up in Townsville that their stadiums get around it. The people up there are some of the best supporters in the state. So you're right. With that fuel behind you, this team starting to hit their stride can definitely cause a little bit of damage and maybe some upsets in the final series.
Yeah, for sure. We should give the other big man, Jackson Todd, a shout out. He was great. He finished with 15 points, and Jalen Patton Croker was pretty good also. All 3 of those guys, including the Froling, finished with double digits, but a real team effort. You look across the box score, and we mentioned it during the game. Every single player played, and every single player got on the stat sheet. So that's very rare to see everyone get on the court and put some points up and get some stats in there. So again, it's a deep team. They're not weak really anywhere, and really impressive win for Townsville in the Pirate Ship.
That's right. It was so exciting too to hear before the game, Rob Anderson be so excited about the fact that it's a homegrown team and how much that means to them. It's only JPC that wasn't playing up in Townsville Juniors, but look, it's great to see how much they love where they're from, and that brings them pride. And look, for the Pirates on their side as well, it was a tough run for them anyway because Kai Woodfall is out with injury. But someone who did, I think, a good job at stepping up to the plate was Jacoby Hunter. And so he scored 14 points, being the highest from his team. Look, it wasn't enough, and the team did struggle, but, they bought into the game when they could. And I think Jacoby, he stood up in terms of making plays. A lot of times Pirates get stuck shooting perimeter shots, but he brought that intensity to drive it in and try to create some dribble drive motion, and it paid off a lot for him in that game.
Yeah, Jacoby's been really good for Pirates this season. He's had to put a lot on his shoulders. He's gotten help since Tease has come back, but unfortunately for them, without Kai Woodfall, it was really, really tough for them to get good looks at the basket and to put points on the board in that game against Townsville. Credit to the Townsville Heat, though. They did it on the defensive end, and they were pretty efficient offensively as well, which is, again, why they're one of the teams that's up there in contention for a championship.
Exactly. Moving on to Saturday night, another couple of teams that are up there for that championship. Mackay Meteors take it out 98 to Cairns Marlins 79. So, and look, we had a season high from Sam's brother, Harry Froling, and he got 40 points, 10 boards, the 7th double-double of the season for him. And man, that's a massive effort.
Yeah, Harry was awesome against Mackay. The stat that jumped out to me, 9 of 15 from three-point land. And that's one of the real differences when you look at big guys and you compare them to a Harry Froling. Harry has that capability to hit the deep ball. He hasn't done it as consistently as he would like. He certainly has it in his arsenal. And when he is hot from deep like that, you're going to get 40 on you like Cairns did. So, Harry is a real offensive powerhouse at this Coles Express NBL1 North level. And you could understand why people chase his signature to bring him into a Mackay. He was down here playing for Red City in the QSL last season. He's played for Townsville as well. He's a great player. We talk about the offensive stats, but I always love to say, and it's 100% true, Harry is a great passer of the ball. I'd love to see more teams run their offense through him. I think Mackay does a lot of that, and I think that's why you see players like Chris Cedar and Jerron Jamerson running play, getting sets and getting looks off of the Harry either creating for them or Harry drawing that attention and opening things up. But when Harry's got it going on, he's a really fun player to watch, and 40 points in any competition is a real thing to be proud of.
Oh, isn't it? And look, on that note too, I just think the Frolings make for such rounded basketball players. You said it, they're big men, but we saw Sam's great ball handling skills really at display in that Pirates game. And yeah, what you said about Harry and how rounded his game is as well, in the assists, in his defense as well. That's exciting. And what is going to be exciting is in NBL, watching them both in the Illawarra Hawks and seeing how that romance plays out on court in real time. I'm pretty pumped for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that too. I thought it was great when they announced Harry signing with Illawarra. They had Sam actually interview him, which I thought was really cool. And credit to Illawarra. I really like what they do. They're a lot of fun to watch on the court, but they're fun and they like to have do things differently off the court. And I think they were really one of the pioneers with some of that behind the scenes stuff. And it's great to see them do things differently because it gives you a different angle on the players. It makes you feel a little more connected to them as people, not just as fans, but you can relate to them a little bit more when you do that. And so credit to Illawarra, and great job, Sam and Harry, on the interview. Hopefully we'll still have a job when you guys retire.
I love that. So true. And look, back on what you were saying as well, Harry helping to facilitate for his team. Look, other people who showed up in that game, Jaron Jamison added 29 points and was super efficient with 11 of 14, including shooting 3 from 5 from deep. So big game for Jamison as well. And the Marlins offense, I mean, without Majok Dang and, other team members that were injured, it was Anthony Fisher with 18 points and George with 15 points who sort of had to lead the charge.
Yeah, and it was really unfortunate for Mirko Djeric to get that injury because he started off hot. He hit his first 2 3-point attempts. He had 6 points. He was starting to heat up. Mirko is one of those guys, once he sees one go in, the confidence levels go right up, and he can really rip off quite a few. And you can see in the final score that Cairns was struggling to score, which is one of the great things that Mirko brings to that group.
Yeah.
We said it before, though, Cairns is one of those danger teams. They're probably not going to make it to a home final, but you wouldn't want to see them come into your place in finals with that fully healthy roster. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's right. They can definitely be a bit scary. And moving on to Sunday, it was the Rockhampton Rockets taking out their first win as well, men's and women's. It's big weekend for them, bit of an upset, 89 over the Cairns Marlins, 86 points. So it was that 3-point win. They were down and they came back and won it because, John, I don't think they could go another week with no wins in their column.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for Rockhampton. You ask anyone there, they'll tell you the same thing. But the guys came together, they stuck with it. And, you have to give them a lot of credit here also because they were down pretty big against Cairns to come back and win it by 3 points at home. I know the celebrations were ridiculous. I'm not going to say anything, Josh Wiltshire, about what I saw on social media because I'm pretty sure everyone else has already seen it. But really, when you go that long into a season without a win, picking up that first one, there's got to be, it's got to be a great feeling. So well-deserved celebrations for the guys in Rockhampton. Josh Wiltshire finished with 22 points and 15 assists. He got a lot of help from Kendall Stevens. He also got help from Najil Young. So a really group effort there, and congratulations to everyone in Rockhampton. A big weekend in Rocky. Congratulations to both women's and men's and everyone involved in the program. I know it's been a tough inaugural Coles Express NBL1 North season, but things can only go up from here for everyone in Rocky.
I love it. I love the fighting spirit. And it was just crazy when you said down by quite a bit, 11 points down with 8:52 left. So it just goes to show what a mammoth effort that was to come through. It had a lot of the team buy-in, and yeah, exciting that in the end they were able to do the damage and take out the win. And look, back on the Marlins side as well, again, Fisher helped lead the charge with a game high 24 points, and he made 5 of 6 from deep. Lowton also had 17 points. George 13, James Mitchell 12. But again, this time it was Rockhampton coming out on top. So it just goes to show, even when players are having big games, you know, the comp's so stacked that it really takes everyone having that big game, and who's just going to fight for it that little bit more.
Well, I got to tell you, I wish that the guys and gals from Rockhampton had given me a bit of a heads up, because I would have reconsidered my tips. I'm clinging to my lead. I need that inside info. So guys, hit me up on social media. Make sure you let me know when those dubs are coming.
Don't hit John up. Hit me up on social media. Briana Goodchild. My preferred's Instagram. John, I think, does Facebook. Look, I need the tip help.
I'm old.
I'm
a Facebook guy. So.
On that note too, we've got an update on the tips. John and I are still separated by one single tip. So we both went out with 4 from this weekend, I believe. And I don't know how that happened. But anyway, regardless, I'm still one behind. Ever since we were announced I'm one behind, we were very even. We haven't been able to split it. So it's going to come down to a final series for us too, I think, John.
I think so too, and unfortunately, Briana, we're not going to get to do our tips this week because the NBL1 North and Basketball Queensland have made the decision to postpone this round, not just here in the southeast corner, but across the entire competition. So all games down in southeast Queensland and up north will be postponed. We're trying to figure out what is actually going to happen, what the end of the season will look like. The games have not been canceled. It's been a postponement. We understand that the games will try to be rescheduled, and we will get some confirmation and some announcement from NBL1 as well as Basketball Queensland, hopefully coming out in the next week or so. But everyone knows what the situation is. It is here in Southeast Queensland. Everyone just needs to do their part to try and keep everyone healthy and safe. And hopefully, if we do the right thing, we'll get to have our Coles Express NBL1 North competition back up and running sooner rather than later.
That's exactly right. And as you've said, from our sources, they're saying they're discussing several options and just going to see what pans out with how everything pans out as we find out more from the government. But I mean, I've heard from a few players that to end it as is would be a tragedy, because everyone's still vying for that spot in the top 8, because it's so close between everyone that there's still just a little bit of time to really cement that top 8.
That's it. And I was going to say, I hope that we do get to come back, but I'm going to take this week as another week where I maintain the lead. So I'm just going to say I'm holding on for another week at least.
Yeah, enjoy it while it lasts, John, because I am coming for you. I am coming for you. And look, we've already touched on all our talking points for this round. It's recapping what has been of round 12. Unfortunately, round 13 is postponed, so the tips will have to wait. But look, make sure you're following Basketball Queensland on the socials, NBL1, Briana Goodchild, John Guarna. We're all doing updates at any one time. So keep on the pulse there. Remember, you can watch all games live and free and recap any of the games that have already been played at nbl1.com.au or on the NBL app. We are Coles Express NBL1 North. It's where it's at. It's where it's hot. And we are getting so close to our finals. It's crazy. John?
Yeah, I can't wait. And hopefully we'll have a special guest next week that might be able to shed a bit of light around what the rest of the season is going to look like. We're working on it for you guys. Hopefully, I don't want to reveal anything because nothing is set in stone yet, but we want to try and get that inside info to you as best and as quickly as we can. So hopefully we'll get that guest that we're working on, Briana.
Yeah. Wink, wink. We're working on it. We're really good at winking. Okay, yes. Well, that concludes everything for tonight for In the North. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can find it on YouTube, Spotify, and any good podcast source. So thanks for joining us. It's been real. We look forward to chatting with you more next week. I'm Briana Goodchild, and thanks to my co-commentator, John Guarna.
Thank you, Briana. And also thanks to our guest, Mirko Djeric. He was awesome. And thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to all the channels.
See you next time.